Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think now you'll be able to hear us. It's nice to know that this whole time we've been on mute, but it was not indicating that on our end. But I think we should have the problem solved. As I was saying, I'll give you a quick overview. Welcome to Hungary Ring. If you haven't noticed already, I'm joined alongside with my good friend Bjorn, of course, as well, Tier 1 driver with me this season. But over the last 2 minutes, we've only just seen the first lap time set by the V-Carb driver. Bjorn, if you would like to say a few words, of course, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Just excited to get on the way on this beautiful track. Yesterday was a nice spectacle, so hopefully we'll see it again in Tier 2. And that's it.
Yeah, so as we were saying before we found out about that little technical difficulty, Hungaroring, quite a bit of a different track, maximum downforce realistically speaking, but still very similar in terms of the rear limited. A lot of emphasis on the traction, as currently having a look at DJ Madman, who's about to set his first lap time. He sets that Mercedes into P4 118.6. Just wanted to note though, one driver going for an alternate strategy is Ginger Tigers. We have a yellow flag, I think that's just the Mercedes getting out of the way. But Ginger Tiger going on the mediums for these first few runs. How does that play into the run plan, Bjorn?
Well, we know from Ginger also from last season that almost every qualifying session he does this. And I think what his plan is to just get used to the track. Of course, you can practice in time trial all you want. You can practice in practice sessions all you want. But once the race starts, you'll have to get a feel for the car again. So I think by using the medium tires, that's what he's doing. But every time he does it, he's still setting competitive lap times. So he's less than half a tenth away from his teammate, who's on the soft. So very impressive from him.
It must be said, it sometimes feels like he's more comfortable on the medium set than it is on the soft, as we're currently riding on board with Mikey. I was going to say, Bjorn, do you want to take us around the lap? Of course, I've had the luxury last season to do that with Jack, but this time I'll give you that power.
Alright, so we're on board with Mikey going into the chicane now of turn 6 and 7. You want to avoid those big curves, which he does, as now through the technical sector of Sector 2 has a little bit of a moment, exiting turn 9, keeps the foot planted for turn 11, now almost to the end of his lap already. Just want to keep it nice and steady through this. Yeah, you could call it a hairpin for sure, I don't know why I had to doubt there. Now for last turn 14, another hairpin, he just takes it a little bit easy. Not taking any risk for his first run, and I will put him into P9 with a 120.1. But I believe he's going straight for another lap, doing 2 hot laps in a row. So he was using ERS on his previous lap as well. Going into turn 1, I'll just do another round then.
I think it's clear to say that first lap was definitely a banker lap. The battery really fully charged, nearly fully charged as he started that.
Oh, was it? Excuse me then. Anyways, into turn 4, yeah, he is up half a tenth from his previous lap time in Sector 1. Going into turn 5, pointing the curves again, just like last lap. And he does take a little bit of that curve. Again, tricky sector, he keeps it clean once again. Nice and steady. This time, no moment. As he almost put his right wheel on the grass there, taking a maximum apex, and now he's 7/10 up his lap time. You are absolutely right, Alex. This is going to be a major improvement from his last lap. And now going into turn 14, once more. He's taking it nice and easy. Still quick though, it will put him up into P9 now with a 190.3. An improvement, and put him in front of his teammate.
Yeah, you could definitely see the car looked a little bit more controlled. That's Mikey having a little bit of a power slide there. But yeah, no, better lap time from the Ferrari driver. A lot of cars now into the pit, so we'll try and see who's on the lap. I might think DJ Madman might be on the lap. No, he's not. 8 seconds off the pace. A lot of ERS in the bank. But what about Spud, the Red Bull? He's as well.
Oh, Mikey's off.
Mikey off the track. Oh, he is off the track there. That'd be, what, just in between turn 4 and turn 5. In fact, now the Red Bull Officer Spud is coming up to him. You'll get yellow flags for that. And hopefully Mikey can reverse it out. He's got the McLaren just to keep that aware. Bruce goes through, and so he's going to have to let a few cars go through here. But yeah, should be alright. But let's go back to what would be Sir Spud. If he's abandoned this lap because of those yellow flags, he's definitely not abandoned it on the ERS usage. But again, to mention, on the medium tyre, the medium tyre for the first run can make sense, but the medium tyre this late into quali, is that a viable option? We'll see what he's got on that time, but as he's coming into the pits as he is, so he's abandoning that lap time and no improvement. First for Spud. Who else is on a lap though? I think Klipskiri could be on one, and he looks to be.
Yeah, War Islander is just about to finish his lap. The pole sitter currently goes for a 15.6. That is a very dominant lap. 1.3 seconds off P2, which is Ginger Tiger. And also, just to come back on Sir Spud here, of course, last week he scored his first points. Congrats to him, with quite a spectacular ending as well, driving 1.5 lap on a puncture. But he has done 3 laps in a row on the medium tire, so I think that is what I said for Ginger Tiger as well. Just getting used to the car.
I'm not sure driving with a 1.5 laps on the puncture is the best option, but if it's the only option, then so be it. I was just on board with Klipskiri. Klipskiri unfortunately invalidating that run on turn 11. It's something to mention here. Track limits can really make or break not only your qualifying but your race with penalties and all that. As who's that going off? Bruce goes massively off the track, but I think that's just to give way to Maris, who was on the lap, but Maris has invalidated hers, so she's not going to be moving up with it. In fact, 2 drivers still not saying a lap time, Maris and Rhinoceros. As there's a McLaren off, I think that's, who's that? Is that Bruce, or is that JPH? That must be JPH. JPH off at turn 1. So what's happened to the McLaren driver here? But whatever's happened, he's definitely into the wall, and he doesn't even have a front wing, so that's going to need replacing. As he lets the Aston Martin, he's got 7 minutes on the clock, Bjorn. He can definitely come back in and set a new front wing, but that's definitely not part of the run plan.
No, it's definitely not what I think has happened. As you will know from yesterday's race, Alex, exit of turn 1, there's a little bit of an elevation change going downhill, which makes it so easy to lose your rear end exiting turn 1. So I think it's just been a silly moment, lost his rear end, and into the wall he went. Also, to come back on Maris, we know from last week as well that because she is a reserve driver, keep that in mind, she might just not want to set a quali lap and just drive her race. Starting from the back of the grid, set a new challenge for herself.
Yeah, won't be easy. I mean, we know Hungaroring is a track where a lot of it is made up in qualifying because of how difficult it is to overtake. Currently just on board now with O'Steven. He was 1 second up at the Sector 2 line, as in fact, what can he do now when he puts up to P4? So good luck from O'Steven. Very, very close between P3 and P4 for the, what would be the podium if it was to end like this. But Ginger Tiger, he's definitely closed up to the VCARB, but it's still quite a lead, it must be said, over there. But who else is on a lap? Is Bruce comes in? No, sorry, comes out. No, he's actually done a lap. DJ Madman. DJ Madman's actually just over 10th up. Can he move up positioning? He can. Into P6 for the Mercedes. This is looking like a really strong qualifying at the moment for the Aston Martin boys. P2 and P3. So if they can keep this for the race, starting position for the race, this could be a really good chance to get some good points. As who else is on a lap? The Alpine actually is on a lap. He's a second up, 100% a second up. I think it was 1.8 to be exact. What does he have? He's going to move up potentially a few spots. He does, to P6. So he now pushes Madman back down to P7. So it's quite a bit of a close bunch from P3 all the way to P6. Even you could even include Madman to P7 there. But now this is the time where you'll start to see a lot of the drivers head in as they'll put a new set of boots on, and they'll potentially lower the fuel if they haven't been already lowering it, and they'll go for one final run. But I think the first man to potentially start a final lap would be Lionel Griesby.
Yes, and I've just seen Sir Spud commented in our live chat saying he's very happy with his time on the mediums. Of course, for the final he will go on the quicker soft tires. As now we see last people entering the pits, and we'll prepare for the final run, which will start in approximately 2 minutes.
Well, Lion of Griesby is not waiting for that. He's going straight away now, going through the long left-hander of turn 2. A little bit of a wiggle on the rear end of that Ferrari, but down the hill he goes now, and he'll finish the first sector. He's just over 3/10 up now. Watch the track limits. You could see the Ferrari sliding there through turn 4. Watch that curb on the right hand side of turn 5. You don't want to be touching that, otherwise that can completely unsettle the car. Now into turn 6 and 7. Gives quite a good enough berth to the curbs, but he doesn't for that one. He really rides turn 8 and now turn 9, but keeps it well within track limits. But now turn 11, the upcoming one, that's a very difficult corner. Goes quite over the grass, but that's okay. He's got a purple sector 2 apparently. 3/10 up though still for Lionel Griesby. Can he move himself into the top 10? That's an important place for him. But he's going to have to try and get on the throttle as much as he can. He's still got a few minutes on the clock here. 2 minutes 50 seconds to go. So he can go for another lap if he's got the fuel. DRS opens for Lionel Griesby. Can he move up to P10? He can. Just slots himself into P10. And that's something that he's going to hopefully try and improve even more if he's got more fuel on board. But Bjorn, who's on the lap? Sir Spud, obviously, he's on the mediums, but now he's on the soft. And look at that, he's already 6/10 up on this run.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching him. He is putting in a lot of effort, but it looks like he might run out of battery before the end of the lap, and that will cost him a lot of time. Especially because, of course, you still have to go on the main straight where you have to get a lot of power. So we'll see how that works out. Seems to be managing it well, though. Heading for turn 14 now. Didn't quite catch how much he was up for sector 2, but we're about to find out. That is here spot into P7 with a 17.3. That will be his best result. He will not set another lap time.
So P7 for Sir Spud. Still an improvement, but this is it now. A lot of drivers now, you can see how many are on their outlap. But I think one that is on a lap is Nitrogash. In fact, no, he's not. He's abandoned this lap. Either he's abandoned it, or this is part of the run plan to do 2 warm-up laps potentially, because he's got the battery charged and he hasn't had an invalidation. So this could be maybe all strategy-wise. But I know somebody who is starting a lap. It's the V-Cub of Warislander, and this is his probably final run of the evening. But he's got a very comfortable 6/10 advantage to the nearest driver of Ginger Tiger, and he's going to try and extend that gap as the McLaren moves to the right hand side. That's no disruption for him. Watch the track limits, and he's just up is the V-Carb. Any improvement is good improvement, but he is definitely going faster at the moment. He takes a little bit of curb on the left hand side. In fact, one thing notice, he used quite a bit of ERS deployment already this early on in the lap, but if it can work for him, as he's got a bit of cars ahead. He's got the Ferrari. Oh, he's gone wide and he's spun. And into the wall. Too much curb, and that's unfortunately set him round, and that lap is done and dusted for him.
Quite a big hit. Just looking to see who will cross the line next. Looks to be Lionel Griesby going through the final turn, but Not sure if this is push lap. I don't think it is. He might start one now. Yeah, he is starting one, but he's on very low ERS. See how that works out for him.
I don't think he is going to be able to do a lap here. He's basically got nothing in the tank. Does Line of Greasby, but I was having him on board for a bit with Ginger Tiger. He's over 4/10 up at the second sector. Has he got enough to try and challenge for pole? Oh, it's so close, but it's not enough. It's not enough for Ginger Tiger. He just falls short, but it's a good effort from him. Nitro Gas stays in P3. O'Steven, he's going around Bruce to 5th. But O'Steven, he's a 10th up. Is it enough to maybe get P4 or even P3 for the Mercedes? But that was a very good effort from Ginger Tiger, but just not enough from him. Rhinoceros in P6 for the Alpine. Was on board with O'Steven now. He's got some battery to deploy. What has he got left for the final corner? The long swooping right-hander off turn 14 deploys the power, gets the DRS wide open. Can he move up a position? No, he can't. It's not enough. Who else, though, is coming around? I know JPH is Line of Greasby. Surely Greasby's not got anything left. Yeah, he doesn't. No more ERS for that. But JPH, just under a second up. This is an important lap. He could jump up a few places, maybe up to P8, P7 even. Where's he going to go? No, it's P9. But it still is an improvement for him. And I think that is it.
Yeah, that's it. That was quite... it is a very close qualifying. You can see the difference between P7 and P5 is less than a tenth. And P1 and 2 is also exactly half a tenth. So, as per usual, we have a very close qualifying. And it's looking to be an as close race.
Well, if you think of it, there's less than a tenth between P1 and P2. There's less than a tenth, really, between P3 and P4. Then a tenth separating P5 to 7, like you said. And then even P8 to P9. So you have these scraps going on, all in between, potentially. But it's the Walrus Londa who takes pole position from Ginger Tiger, who will line alongside him. He's got his teammate, though, Nitro Gas in P3 with the Red Bull Clips Curie, followed by O'Steven and Ronan Saurus with Bruce and Sir Spod, following with JPH, DJ Madman with Line of Greasby, Mikey and Maris saying the last of the lap times. But yeah, no, just those little pockets of such, you know, a lot of drivers in it. It really could show where these battles will be for the main race. As we're now into the lobby for the Grand Prix, it does seem to be dry. But there are a few clouds, potentially, you could say, wandering in the distance. But we did see yesterday, it did start bone dry, and it almost got to, I think, what we could say full wet by the last lap.
Yeah, I was absolutely full wet. I'm just looking at my weather forecast radar here. As far as I can see, 30 minutes into the race is the maximum I could see. The drivers can see up to an hour, I believe. Looks to be just clouds. But yeah, who knows, still rain further in the race. But I've got a question for you, Alex. We've seen some drivers going out quite early for their last run. I mean, I know per experience that you go as late as possible for your lap time. Do you know why a driver would go early?
My obvious answer is to say to just get clear air. I mean, by going early, you run less risk of potentially, you know, as a driver, a yellow flag won't really hinder you on the F1 game, but it can always spark a little bit of a distraction. So that is one thing. You will get the clean air, you will get a fresh track likely to you, but the question is more maybe about tire condition, the temperature. If it's potentially getting warmer the later the session goes, potentially, then obviously it's probably better to go a bit earlier. Of course, track evolution naturally will say to go as late as you can, but that could also potentially be a factor. But yeah, it also, if maybe you have, we've seen some drivers, and sometimes I do it myself, where you put an extra lap of fuel on board just as a security for that final run. Some drivers do it, some say let's take it flat out and full risk, but it really I think depends on the driver and the conditions, really.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's personal preference. I mean, all of what you just said is absolutely right, in my opinion as well. Just an extra lap of fuel for security could make or break your race, especially at a track like this. Super hard to overtake in under normal conditions. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I just want to quickly, let's run down, of course we didn't get that opportunity with the technical difficulties at the start, but of course the standings, glad to report no race incidents reported from Shanghai, so standings remained, and for the driver's sake, it's the Warislander. He is in first place after that win in Shanghai, followed by Nitro Gas and Ginger Tiger, so 17 points for the Racing Bulls, followed by the two Aston Martins with 14 and 12. Stephen then follows behind in P4 with 10 points, with the Alpine of the Ronansaurus on 8, with Bruce in 6th and Klipskiri behind, with DJ Madman and Sir Spud and JPH rounding off the top 10 on 3 points, and then Lionel Griesby followed by It's the Cat on 1 point, and then we have Callum with Maris and Mikey for P13, 14 and 15 sitting on no points. But important to say, of course, you know, it's the top 12 that get points here, not the top 10. So realistically, every driver here tonight will score a point bar one, as we're already getting underway for the formation.
Quite quick.
It feels quite quick, yeah. I'll quickly go down the constructors. So Aston Martin, though, with that, I did say again, the strong pairing of Ginger Tiger and Nitro Gas. We've seen it last season as well. The Aston Martin boys can get themselves into really good position. They might not be the fastest on track, but they're definitely the most, let's say, organised in terms of consistently scoring the points. So Ginger Tiger and Nitro Gas sitting on 26 points for Aston Martin, followed by Racing Bulls on 17. Mercedes right behind on 15 in P3, with McLaren with Bruce and JPH on 10. Then the Red Bull boys of Klipskiri and Sir Spud also on 10 points in P5, with Alpine in 6, just 1 point behind, followed by Ferrari on 2 points, and then Sauber, Haas and Williams all on 0. But yeah, that's those are your standings after just the first round. Of course, still 7 more to go, including this one. And we'll have a quick look on the tyre strategy. So looks to be a fairly even split, more mediums than hards, but pretty balanced. And I think there's no surprise to see potentially no softs at the start.
Yeah, definitely no softs. Now, the thing is with the tyre strategy on Hungary, I mean, of course, like usual, like every week, the one stop is quickest. But track position is so important on this track that I think if you don't go on mediums, you're counting on some sort of a safety car or something else to happen, or a little bit of luck, because it is super hard to overtake. So I start on the hards, but we'll see how that goes for the hard runners. We'll keep an eye on them.
Yeah, it does feel like if you start on the hard tyre, you are obviously letting yourself get undercut if there was no safety car or VSC, but yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I did want to say as well, Bruce, I think he had a moment, he was far back from the train, but he's caught up now, and we are all lined up for me, will be the first race of the season. Of course, yourself and Jack were there at round 1, but here we go. But the lights count down now to round 2 here in Hungary. It's lights out and away we go. Who's got the better of the start? It looks to be the Warislander. Looks to have a pretty decent start if we can get the camera to show us here. The Red Bull, in fact, of Klipskiri. He's overtaken Nitro Gas, or does Nitro Gas have enough to do it? In fact, Nitro Gas having to fight round, but Ginger Tiger even having a look on the V car. But the Red Bull still hanging on here to the Aston Martin, potentially going around the outside. But it looks like the two Aston Martins should be safe and sound with that, but the Red Bull has to just yield as the Aston's having to fend off that P2 and P3. But who's that in the back? I think that's Sir Spud and JPH. JPH trying to get through into turn 4, and he does so, but runs over a little bit wide. Now it goes 3 wide into turn 5 with the Alpine and the Red Bull of Sir Spud. Sir Spud getting a bit onto the grass here. But that is luckily nothing going wrong here. Oh, he's gone a bit deep. Is that because he's got the McLaren alongside? It is. And the McLaren now with JPH trying to go alongside. It's going to continue on, and now it does get the move. That's the effect of newer mediums, or I should say mediums to hards. They're both the same age, but the mediums will fire up much quicker than the hard compound tyre. Bjorn, what did you see from potentially the back or anywhere else?
Ronan had a, well, I want to say it nice, but he had an awful start coming off the lights, losing 3 positions, I believe it was, before even going into turn 1. Now he did try and make that back by going for a beautiful overtake around the outside of both Sir Spud and Jordan, almost making that move, but unfortunately having a little bit of bad luck with some technical difficulty, now all the way down into P10. Furthermore, I haven't spotted any contact yet so far, which is great news for everyone.
Yeah, I think it just got a little bit tight and all, but I think we've managed to get away without even potentially any damage to front wing end plates even, so I think we've done pretty good so far. But there is quite a bit of a gap, it must be said, from the McLaren of JPH and Bruce, so quite a bit of a split there. And that's quite ironic because Bruce is on the harder tyre, so he's managed to pull away. As I say that, Bruce having to take to the escape road or go off at turn 6 and 7, but he's still on the back of this little fight here. But more importantly, this is the crucial bit. We know overtaking is a difficulty around here, but the Warslander, he was just a second clear of Ginger Tiger. Now that's just fluctuated back into a second. This is important for the 2 Aston Martins fight here, to stay with that DRS. They might not be able to overtake, but at least they can stay with the V-carb.
Yeah, absolutely. You are right about that. Now, DRS will be enabled from this lap onwards, as Ginger Tiger is gaining on our leader here.
He does in fact have DRS, and he well does have it now, and that will also help to his teammate behind. So like I said, Aston Martin, that qualifying position could be so key to getting a great result here, as there's a little bit of side by. Oh, there's a Ferrari gone round. That's Mikey. Mikey's gone round on the exit of turn 1. Has he gone into the wall? Unfortunately, the camera is not giving us that option to see if he's gone into the wall or not. But just seeing that turning there, I wouldn't be surprised he's got damage, and he does. Look at that left-hand side damage, quite significant. He goes off even on the exit turn 3. That's going to need replacing. That's going to need some serious replacing, and you can just see he's struggling now. That's not what Mikey needs. Mikey, he really wants to try and get some points on the board, but it's not gonna help. But like we said, it only takes 1 DNF for tonight's race, and you can score a point. But yeah, it's actually going back to that. We saw just popping up a lap ago the possible race strategies. The 2 options were the 1-stopper going on the mediums for the first thing, then to the hard around lap 17, 18, 19. And then the other being a 2-stopper going a medium hard. From last night's running, it was pretty evident it seems to be a 1-stopper.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt in that. I mean, the rain and the safety car shook things up quite a bit. Of course, we saw the likes like Sydney and was it Milo, I think, going for an alternate strategy by just trying something else. And well, for Sydney, he obviously won the Grand Prix. So, but as far as we know, there's no rain coming here. I mean, the safety car is always possible, but without any of those, then a 2-stop would simply not work out in your favor.
Yeah, agreed with that. I think at the moment it's a 1-stop. Oh, who's that gone off? That's Nitrogas. Nitrogas having a little moment. And as we've just been looking at a few of these, it's somewhat turning out into these pockets, like I mentioned from qualifying, you know, with the lap times. We have these pockets of battles, you know, the main one up front between, you know, P2 to P4, Ginger Tiger, Nitrogas, and Clips Kiri. But crucially, these 3 have fallen off the DRS train of the Warslander. Warslander has pulled a gap of 2.5 seconds as it stands. So that is, it's not a problem necessarily for Ginger Tiger because he knows he's got his teammate behind, but to try and drag each other along, it might make it a little bit more difficult now. Oh, there's a Red Bull in the background. Clips Kiri having a moment as he got into... I think he went into the wall. He has the end plate, but having a moment. That's put O'Stephen right on the back line of Greasby, trying to make a move. And he does so, and even DJ Madman on Sir Spud, but Clip Scary though, he had a moment there. Did you manage to catch it, Bjorn? You could just see it in the background.
Yeah, I just saw a glimpse of it. I'm not quite sure what happened exactly, but he's done a good job of keeping it out of the wall and keeping, well, his tire on the car. And it looks like there's no damage for the Red Bull, so he's gone away quite unharmed, luckily for him.
I think even if it is damage, it is going to be on the minor sides of things, because his pace is not really dropped, but he is just hovering around that 9/10 of a second, where that crucial 1/10 can make or break this next opportunity at potentially defending from a Mercedes behind. And in fact, he is now at the detection point. I think he was just out of detection point, and he is. So this is a great opportunity now for O'Stephen, even on the harder tyre, to potentially get a run at the Red Bull. Is he far enough back? He is a bit too far on this occasion, but that's definitely not what Clip Scary wants right now.
No, absolutely not. Nitro Gash is gaining a lot on his teammate. We've seen from last week as, oh, Sear Spot's going down the inside of Jordan. What a move that was from Sear Spot. That was a send on the late on the brakes, no contact, kept it clean, and that is Sear Spot up into P7.
Yeah, we just saw for a brief moment on stream, that was a really good send that caught me off guard as well on the hard tyre. It must be said, the drivers on the hard tyre are feeling a bit, I'd say, well, from what we've seen so far, it looks like the harder tyre is a bit more of a racier tyre.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Oh,
I was thought
JPH having a snap and a half there, having a huge snap out of turn 9. Just caught that on stream, but no, he's still in the back of. He's not out of this fight. He's still in the back of Sir Spud. But yeah, no, JPH having to catch that, but he's done well. But yeah, I think he's the closest man on track to potentially making a move, just around the 5/10 mark, as the field is just opening up at the moment. But the thing is, Sir Spud is not going to want to see this, because he's got a McLaren behind him, and more importantly, behind that McLaren is a Mercedes of DJ Madman. So Sir Spud is going to have to keep an eye on two cars as he stays clear into turn 1. Oh
George.
Oh dear.
What happened there? I mean, he was. I was on board with DJ Madman, and 1 second I saw a car going straight on the straight, and then I saw a car not going so straight on the straight anymore. Did you catch what happened?
I was riding on the off-board camera, but it just looked like he went off. But that would have been likely the rears going away. It must be said as well, though, he doesn't have any visible damages, so it actually seems to be a similar thing with Clip Scary. They've both given the wall a bit of a whack, but front wing is hanging on well, so whatever McLaren and Red Bull are doing to their front wings, it's clearly working. But yeah, that's not going to be helping. But now that means Sir Spud has cleared one McLaren. He's also got now another Mercedes engine car, and this time it's the factory team of Mercedes. As you can see, Sir Spud's struggling on the traction there. He is on the hard tyre, but so is Madman. But let's see, as in fact, could there be a move up front as well? A Red Bull being chased by Mercedes up front, and as well a Red Bull being chased by another Mercedes, and this time it's Madman going to have a look down the inside. He's going to brake a little bit early at first, but then let go off the brake pedal. Has a little bit of a rear slide, but I think he's gotten the move done and dusted, has he? Not enough yet. They're going side by side down into turn 2. They're going to have contact. The Red Bull has a little bit of a slide, but I think he's going to be getting away with that one. But that does release DJ Madman through from that little bit of contact at turn 2.
Yeah, fortunately to see it there. A little bit of contact between the two as Rhinosaurus get the first penalty of today, unfortunately for the Alpine after his poor start.
Ooh.
See yellow flag, and that is as well the Alpine. Well, that might be a little bit of a commentator curse. Apologies for that.
It's definitely not right time.